Want you to be a hit at your family gathering? Stay tuned. I guarantee you. The ingredients for this is down in the comments, but the first thing that I did is I took my 2 stalks of green onions and I chopped them up. I purchased a large pan. It's up to you what size pan that you are going to use, depending on the number of people that you're going to feed. And I got all my trusty seasonings, because the macaroni is all about the seasoning. Garlic salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and of course Lawry's seasoning salt. You can use whatever brand that you are, but I swear by, or that you like, but I swear by Lawry's. And then of course your black pepper. You're going to grab some large elbow macaroni. Now I have tried this with other types of macaroni, but I prefer the large elbow. I am going to get a large pot, put water in it, and make sure that you actually season your water. Seasoning is everything, and you'll hear me say that throughout the video. Seasoning is everything. So you see me, I'm putting in just a little bit of seasoning into my water of all the seasonings that I mentioned previously. That will be the garlic salt, onion powder, garlic powder, seasoning salt. I'm putting all that in the water so that my noodles will be able to gather up that taste as they boil. There's nothing like bad tasting noodles. I'm also going to make sure that my fire is up to par so that my noodles will cook at a decent time. I have mine on 7, so I would say any like halfway through your temperature, because it'll allow your noodles to cook within about 30 minutes or so. So after I've seasoned my water, that's when I'm going to go ahead and pour these noodles right into the water. The water has not begun to boil yet. I'm just going to go ahead and pour them in my lukewarm or room temperature water on the stove that I've already started. I got 1 small bag and a large bag that I already had, so I put the full small bag in, and then I took some out of the large bag. Now, I don't have exact measurements. I've been making macaroni and cheese for so long that I don't have exact measurements. So it is really going to depend on the number of people that you are trying to feed. This pot that I'm making will probably feed a good 15 to 20 people. We were having our Father's Day lunch or dinner that we made for the guys in our family, and I'm always assigned the macaroni and cheese. So that's just that. Anyway, so after putting that in, I'm going to go ahead and grab some butter or margarine, whichever you prefer. I prefer butter, but I didn't have any, so I went ahead and used this margarine. You're going to give just 1 heaping spoonful of the butter or margarine into the water. That will keep the noodles from sticking together. Okay? And so we're going to let this boil, and we'll be back. Next, after they boil, probably for a good 30 minutes or so, I'm checking to see if I can easily cut through the noodles. Some people like them al dente, where they're kind of soft, but they're still have a little bit of hardness to them. That's fine, because you're going to cook them some more in the oven anyway. But I like my macaroni already done. I've taken the pot, and I'm going to go ahead and drain these off camera. I've taken all the water out before I go ahead and place them into the pot, and that's what you will see next. So I go ahead and take out my pan, go ahead and pour my drained macaroni and cheese right on in that pan. Make sure your pan is clean, of course. I pre-rinsed this prior to videotaping it. And I try to clean up my area. Now, don't mind the 2 containers in the back. I paint, and those were sitting, soaking my paintbrushes. Anyway, So going back to this, so I poured my noodles back into the pan. Now I'm going to go ahead, get all of my seasonings together, but I'm going to go ahead and grab all of those green onions that we chopped up in the beginning and pour them into my macaroni and cheese. A lot of people do not like to add things to the macaroni and cheese, which this is the only thing that I add. I discovered this a long time ago, and when I try to make macaroni and cheese without it, my family goes crazy and nuts and says, where's the green onions? Okay, so once again, seasoning is everything. There's nothing like noodles that don't taste like anything. So you want to pre-season your noodles too. So I am taking all of my seasons again, and I am lightly seasoning the top of the noodles with all of the seasonings: garlic salt, garlic powder, onion powder, seasoning salt, and also black pepper. I'm pouring that right on top. And then what I am going to do is I am going to take my big spoon and I am going to mix this all together to make sure that all of my seasoning is coated on top of the noodles. And you will see me do that. Okay, so I'm seasoning, and seasoning again. And no, it is not salty, because as you can see, I am not heavy-handed. I also taste your noodles. It's important you taste it, because if it tastes just like nothing, that means you need more seasoning. Do not pour all that cheese on there and you haven't seasoned your noodles. That is the worst mistake people make when they make macaroni and cheese. Flavor is everything. So taste your noodles real quick. Grab one, bite it, make sure that it got plenty of flavor in it. Okay, and I don't know if I showed this part, but I also put like a little dollop of butter inside of the noodles while they're hot. Now we're going to move on to our cheese sauce. Okay, this is the most important thing that you're going to do. When you're making cheese sauce, this helps coat the noodles so you don't have big chunks of cheese inside, where every single noodle gets coated. You are going to take about a half a cup of half and half heavy creamer, pour it into your pot. I love Velvetta cheese because it melts. It helps me start my actual sauce because it melts so easily. I found these shreds, which I'm going to tell you I prefer the block. It just tastes different to me, but the shreds will have to do, and that's about 2 cups that comes in the package. So I poured the whole 2 cups into my pot. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab other types of cheeses, because this is like a 5 flavor or 5 cheese macaroni and cheese. Okay, and I'm grabbing my Mexican cheese that has 4 different types of cheeses to it. So I have my Velveeta, you have Jack cheese, cheddar, you have jalapeno kind of spicy cheese in there, and then you have Monterey. So it's Monterey Jack, Monterey, regular cheddar, and some jalapeno flavored. So I go ahead and grab 2 big handfuls of that, which is about 2 cups. I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the pot with the rest of my cheese and my half and half. Excuse me. And I'm going to do 1 big dollop of butter. This is fattening. Now, if you came on here looking for a low-fat recipe, this ain't it. This is one of your slap your mama, your brother, and your sister recipe. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and stir up this cheese sauce. And, let it begin to melt. And then once again, I'm going to pour in just like a quarter of a cup or 1/4 cup of milk, just to kind of loosen up the cheese so that it doesn't burn. You want to continue to stir the cheese because you don't want it to brown. If it browns, that means that it's burning. We don't want that. We just want it to be pourable on top of our macaroni and cheese. After I've stirred it a little bit, I am going to season again. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and just grab all of the seasonings that I've already showed you. My onion powder, I'm going to not be heavy-handed with it. Just go ahead and lightly put it in my cheese sauce. The next one that I am going to do is my garlic powder. Same thing. I'm going to put it in the cheese sauce right on top. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to use black pepper. Go ahead and add that in. The next thing that I'm going to do is garlic salt. And of course my trusty Lorry's. Yes, yes. That is making it all come together. Trust me. Okay. So after I've done that, I'm going to stir, make sure that seasoning gets mixed up all in my cheese sauce. And what I'm looking for is a thin consistency, right? I want it to be able to be pourable, spreadable at the same time. So I'm steadily just picking up this cheese sauce to make sure that when I pour it on top of the macaroni, that it's going to be able to mix. And of course I'm going to taste it. Now if you were cooking for other people, you might want to have a couple of different spoons for tasting, but I'm cooking for my family, so it is what it is. Alright, so I've tasted it and I'm kind of happy with it. I just wanted to thin out a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead. I want it to be creamy and pourable. I want to be able to pour it. Okay, so I'm going to continue to stir it, and I'm starting to like this consistency, and I think we are ready to pour. Stay tuned because that's next. Alright, so I am going to take this pot and go ahead and pour the whole contents right on top of my seasoned macaroni and green onions. I'm just going to go ahead and place it right on top. I'm going to take my spoon and mix in that mixture as good as I possibly can, because my thing is, I don't know if you ever had macaroni and you get that one bite that has no cheese, no flavor, no nothing. It'll throw your whole macaroni experience off, and we are not trying to do that. What we want to do is we want to be sure that every single piece of this thing is covered. Okay, now what I'm doing here is because for whatever reason, I had a lot of water at the bottom. I must didn't drain the pot really that well when I took my macaroni. So I'm just taking like a little cup, measuring cup, and all that water that pooled to the side, I'm just going ahead and pouring it out. That is it. Because what you don't want it to be is too watery, and it'll water down the flavor as well. If you have too much juice that has nothing in it, or water I should say, it'll water down the whole thing. So I just took the pan because that wasn't going anywhere, and I kind of like just poured out the water on the side a little bit and got rid of that water, because trust me, my family is notorious for letting me know when the macaroni is not a hit, and I can't have that. I wasn't feeling it that day. I was trying to relax and not defend myself, so I had to do what I had to do. Anyway, so going back, I am mixing all my cheese sauce, and then actually, if you don't like the stringy cheese on top and it falling off, you could actually eat it like this. I mean, it's pretty much done. But what is macaroni and cheese if you don't have the layer of cheese on top and it's nice and baked? Again, taste is everything. You want to stick that fork in there as you go along. Nothing is more surprising than you tasting the macaroni cheese or someone else tasting it and it's no damn good. So you want to make sure that you got plenty of flavor in there. And just, you know, I'm taking a while on stirring it because, again, I want all my sauce to hit every noodle. Now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of flattening it out, and I know that you can't 100% see the screen, but I'm just flattening it out, making an even layer, making it flat. And I'm going to take more cheese, and I'm going to cover every single macaroni that you can see with a layer of cheese. Okay, now It's not called macaroni and cheese for nothing. Like, this is for real, some real, for real, creamy, gooey, ooey, ooey goodness. And your family will thank you. They will ask you for the recipe. It's so simple and easy to make. But I have tried to teach my nieces, and it just doesn't come out the same when they do it. So I said, let me put a video together. So again, I am covering the whole pan with nothing but cheese, and you can use any type of cheese you like. I've done it with so many different types of cheese, Asiago, Parmesan, all of that. Just keep in mind, the more bitter that the cheese is, it will affect the taste. So you got to know your cheese blends and what they taste like before you venture out and put this in your macaroni and cheese. But again, it'll take any type of cheese. Now we're going to go straight to the oven. Yeah, you'll see those yams up in there. I'm making yams and all of that, so I'll teach you about that later. Macaroni and cheese out of the oven, and look how beautifully delicious that looks. Make sure you get those edges, man. Like, you don't have real macaroni and cheese unless you see them brown edges around. Yeah, look at that, look at that, look at that. And let me say, this whole tray was gone before any other dish. That's just how good it is. It was gone. And as you can see, as I'm digging in there, every piece of macaroni is coated in cheese. Let me go ahead and taste this. It is delicious, man. Delicious. Once again, I'm cooking for my family, so yes, I'm double dipping. I'm putting my fork in there. They don't care. It is what it is. I'm not selling it. This is for the house. So therefore, let me get my taste. Damn. Whew. Man, I got to go in for another. It is delicious. Look at that cheese dripping off of there. Tell me that you don't want to eat this right now. Man, it is delicious. It is delicious. Well, that's it, guys. You'll thank me later.